Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder again with yet another AITA story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for laughing at my girlfriend when she suggested I should offer to pay the bill for her family? My 23 male girlfriend, 21 female, and I have been together for a year and a half. Her family is super sweet, and I get along great with them. Now my girlfriend's dad is pretty well off. Every time I've gone out to dinner with her family, he always foots the bill. Her family has been great to me. They always welcome me in their house. I went on a vacation with them back in the winter. Her parents paid for our hotel for the entire week. Her dad gave her money for food. Granted, it was for her brother, and myself. I also only paid for half of my flight because my girlfriend offered to pay for the other half. The only thing I really had to pay for is food a couple of days out of the trip, which my girlfriend pitched in and helped with too. This past weekend, my girlfriend, myself, her younger brother, and her dad went out for brunch. I was spending the weekend with her anyway, so she invited me to join them. Before we left, her and I were talking, and she mentioned how maybe I should offer to pay for brunch, as in for all four of us. She assured me that her dad would 1000% refuse to let me pay, but he would probably really appreciate and respect me for offering. This is dangerous. Now here's where I may sound like the asshole, but I honestly laughed at her suggesting this. I told her I would offer to cover her and my portion of the bill, but to expect me to offer to cover the entire bill is absurd. Sure, I work a full-time job and all of that, but I have my own bills and stuff to worry about. And she wants me to offer to pay for $150-ish brunch. She told me that if her dad accepted, which she could 100% guarantee that he wouldn't, that she would send me half for the bill. I continued to laugh and told her I'm not doing that. I'll offer to pay for our half and that's it. I asked her if the roles were reversed, if she would offer to pay the bill for my family. 8 of us, total, including my girlfriend. She said that's completely different. That's 8 people. Not 4. We both have very different upbringings in terms of the situation. I mean about paying the bill. She grew up with a decently well-off family where they would constantly argue on who would pay the bill because everyone in her family would always offer out of courtesy. I grew up very differently, as I come from a family that was not financially well off. If someone offered to foot the bill, you'd just sit back and let them do it. When we went out to brunch, I offered to cover both her and my portion of the bill. Her dad immediately refused and covered the whole bill. She gave me a "I told you so" look. She thinks I was an asshole for how I reacted to the situation and says I should have trusted her. She told me she needs some space because my reaction to the whole situation is kind of a turnoff to her and she needs to think about things. Am I the asshole? This is an interesting one. Okay, so in his shoes, if I had been given time to prepare, this was a spur of the moment thing. Like right before they went to brunch, it was like, hey, you should offer to pay. And I'd be like, oh, maybe give me a little more time. At 23, you're not rolling in dough. Obviously, you're just scraping by. Not that it's any different at 40, but at 23, you probably need a little bit more time to prepare to pay for a $150 check. And if you're going to offer, you have to be prepared to execute. That's my point here. So he probably needed at least a little more of a heads up, a couple days maybe, at least a day, to be able to pull this off and to be able to comfortably offer. There's also a flip side of this that says that offering to pay can be heavily offensive to some people. And I've actually pissed some people off by offering to pay before. I want to say it was my grandpa. But legitimately, you can piss people off if you attempt to pay or offer to pay. It may be a cultural thing, but could have been offensive to the dad too, to offering to pay for his meal. You know what I mean? In some cultures, it can actually be like that. So he could have done more damage offering to pay for everyone. What's interesting here is that his girlfriend, because of the way that she was brought up, is turned off by this. But that's because her model has been her dad. And she was brought up in a wealthy environment where it's normal to do that and where I guess they don't have to think about having the funds to be able to pull that off. And for him, he probably needed some more time to be able to feel comfortable doing that. Or maybe he thought he could offend the dad and didn't want to do it that way. If that was the case, he should have said so in here and that would make more sense, but he didn't. So he just laughed about it. He probably needed to offer some kind of explanation and be like, hey, I'm uncomfortable with this because either like I would need more time to just be able to execute that and not have it hurt me. And he needs to be able to follow through if he offers to do it. If he offered to do it and then couldn't, that would look really bad to everyone. Or if he was afraid he was going to offend the father, he should have mentioned those things to her. And she might have been more understanding. I don't know what she's thinking his angle is here. If she kind of sees him as a mooch now, that's possible. It certainly came across as a weakness to her that she didn't like and she saw it as a turnoff. So it's a difference of upbringing that really forked them in the road here. Forked them in the road sounds weird. I'm going to never say that again. You know what I mean though. It's a difference of upbringing and a difference of opinion, and it's different. It's one of the ways that they're different. So as we've talked about in previous stories, the person who creates the event and invites people typically pays, at least in some cultures. It was going to be the three of them, so probably it was something initiated by the dad. And in that case, he would normally pay. By the old rules, I don't know that those really apply anymore, but accepting all the money from the girlfriend's family but can't pay for brunch, if she had given him more of a heads up, I think there's a chance that he may have been more comfortable with it. But I think she caught him off guard and made him uncomfortable. And it's either because he didn't have the money to be able to comfortably pull that off right then without it harming other things. He should, because he didn't have to pay for anything else, but that's just not how life works, obviously. But I think it's the spur of the moment thing. He did not communicate well and could have communicated better. And if we're really applying the scale here, that would put him in ASCON 4 territory, because he could have done that differently. Could have explained why he had an aversion to it or what his concerns were, and the fact that he didn't, she saw his weakness. But her putting him on the spot like that, she shouldn't have done either, or she could have done differently. So it isn't everyone sucks here. I don't know what to degree that goes on, though. I think in his position, if money was tighter, he's seeing this girl that comes from a wealthy family and their family just has no concerns about money at all. She hit him with the idea of paying for brunch last minute, then I'm sure he got nervous. His back was probably sweating then. It's like somebody randomly asking you to jump on a live. Candy Thunder just handed these to me and wanted me to make sure I mention them again. These stickers are available at dusty-thunder.com. This is a sticker sheet, which has like 9 different stickers on there. I'd hold it closer, but I'm using manual focus on this camera, so it's not going to be super in focus. And then we have a couple of different sticker packs that have individual loose stickers in there too. You definitely need to go check them out. It's dusty-thunder.com. We just got them in. We're shipping them out now. So the first batch of them, we actually handed off to the mail lady just like an hour ago. So if you've ordered some already, they're on the way. And we're including some bonus stuff in there. Some bonus stuff from Stormcloud Marketing in there. Extra incentive.